Oliver sat on a small wooden stool in the middle of the town square. A blank canvas rested on his easel. Around him, children laughed, vendors called out their prices, and the world moved with energy. But Oliver remained still. His brush moved with precision, shaping smiles on the faces of people he had never met. Oliver was a street artist. Every day, he painted portraits of strangers. And in every portrait, he added a bright, joyful smile. People loved his work. They said his paintings made them happy. They said his talent was a gift. But no one noticed one simple thing. Oliver never smiled. One afternoon, a little girl stopped in front of him. She was small, no more than 8 years old, with curly brown hair and big, curious eyes. She watched him paint for a long time before speaking. "Mister, why don't you smile?" Oliver looked up. "What do you mean?" The girl pointed at his paintings. "Everyone in your pictures is smiling. But you're not." Oliver hesitated. He had heard compliments about his art, but never a question like this. "I guess I just don't think about it," he said. The girl tilted her head. "Are you happy?" Oliver's fingers tightened around his brush. Of course, he lied. The girl didn't seem convinced. "If you're happy, then smile." Oliver opened his mouth, but no words came out. The little girl shrugged and skipped away, disappearing into the busy street. But her words stayed. That night, Oliver sat in his small apartment. The walls were filled with paintings, portraits of people he had met, each one frozen in a moment of happiness. But none of them were him. He stood and walked to the mirror. He stared at his reflection, trying to force a smile. His lips moved, but it felt unnatural. He let them fall back into their usual straight line. Why was it so hard? The next day, Oliver returned to the square. He painted as usual, but his mind was elsewhere. He watched people, trying to understand their happiness. He saw a young couple holding hands, an old man feeding birds, a mother playing with her child. They smiled so easily. What was their secret? "Mister." Oliver turned. The little girl was back. She grinned at him and held out a small piece of paper. "I drew you a picture." He took it and looked at the drawing. It was a simple sketch of him, sitting at his easel. But there was something different. He was smiling. Oliver blinked. "Why did you draw me like this?" "Because that's how you should look," the girl said. Oliver felt something stir inside him. He looked at the picture again. The smile wasn't just painted, it looked real. It looked like it belonged to him. "Thank you," he said softly. The girl giggled. "Now, let me paint you." Before Oliver could protest, she dipped a brush into his paint and touched it to the canvas. She moved with excitement, her small hands creating bold, uneven strokes. Oliver watched her. She wasn't worried about making it perfect. She just enjoyed the moment. For the first time in years, Oliver felt something warm in his chest. When she finished, she stepped back and clapped her hands. "Look." Oliver stared at the painting. It was rough and simple, but it was full of life. And right in the center, there he was, smiling. "Do you like it?" the girl asked. Oliver nodded. "Yes, I do." The girl beamed. "Good. Because smiles are meant to be shared." Something inside Oliver shifted. He suddenly realized that he had spent years trying to capture happiness on canvas, but he had never let himself feel it. Maybe it was time to change that. That evening, Oliver sat in front of his mirror once more. But this time, he didn't force the smile. He thought of the little girl, of her bright eyes and her simple, fearless joy. Slowly, naturally, his lips curved upward. And for the first time in a long time, Oliver smiled, not for a painting, not for anyone else, but for himself. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe.